The last truth teachings is the quickest, the most efficient way to eliminate the feeling of unworthiness. Because when we realize ourselves as God, as the creator of all, then what does deserving even mean? When we realize ourselves as God, one with everything, then how can the one who created everything either deserve or not deserve something within his own creation? This whole concept of deserving makes no sense anymore when we know who we truly are, when we start identifying with God, with the Creator, rather than with separate individual. So this is the best, the quickest, by far the most efficient way of eliminating unworthiness. There are other ways, of course, that involve us, doing something, working hard, trying hard, working through different scenarios, issues, until you feel that you've struggled enough and now you deserve some reward from some higher forces, from the gods. You've gone through so many struggles. You've put so much effort. You've done so much spiritual work. Now you probably deserve it. Now even your mind, your logical mind, agrees to the fact that, well, after all of that sweat and tears and stress and time and effort, probably you actually deserve it. You actually deserve a reward. And then you become capable of receiving all the blessings that you wanted. Now your mind is convinced that you can actually accept it without feeling as an imposter, as somebody who doesn't deserve it. So your mind stops this whole self-sabotaging process that most of us struggle with. And why? We all will struggle with this imposter syndrome and the feeling of unworthiness until we realize who we are. We feel unworthy because we are detached in our perception. We are separate from who we truly are, from the source of who we are. Of course, this illusion of separation generates this feeling of not being whole, not being complete, not being enough. This is where it comes from. This feeling of not being enough is literally a reflection that you are not enough. You are not enough until you know who you are, until you connect with your true self, until you're merged with who you truly are, with the God within, with the God that you are. Then you are enough. Then you are truly and fully who you were always meant to be. Now you fulfilled your potential. Until then, you will feel unworthy. And we all are in this way, so to speak. Because when we don't know our true nature, we are not ourselves. We are not ourselves. We live in this false identity of a separate, powerless individual that cannot affect change in this reality, that cannot create anything. It's a victim mentality that we all have, that we are all born into. It's a default perception, self-perception and self-identification. It's default. It is our spiritual duty to change these default settings because we have free will. We have a choice whether we want to stay in these default settings or we choose to claim our true power, our true self. And when we make this choice based on free will, that's why it's not just immediately given. This power is not just immediately given. The potential of having this power is given, but we need to actually say yes to have it. We need to claim it. We need to agree to have it. And once we are one with our true self, all the illusions of not being worthy, not deserving, not being good enough, not being loved enough, all these mirages, they disappear instantly. There's no need to work on your internal issues for decades, to work through this mental conditioning and programs. You can't work through the illusion. Again, you can't work through the illusion. You need to see it for what it is. There's no way you can work through the illusion because it doesn't exist. It is a distortion in your perception of who you are. And once this distortion is eliminated, then you are identifying with your true self, and then you feel complete. And you never have this illusionary, distorted perception of yourself being unworthy, undeserving, unloved, and all of that. No other method will help you feel complete, worthy. There's no other way to know true self-love, because self-love is not about how much time you spent in a day grooming your nails and taking baths with rose petals. This is not about self-love. Self-love is about becoming love, because love is your true nature. God, source, love, they're all synonyms. So when you become God, when you become your true self, you become love. When you become love, you no longer need or even can receive any love from the outside. There's no outside anymore. It is all you, all the extensions of you. And the extensions of you on the so-called outside will reflect love back to you, because what's within, so without. The only way to know self-love, as the only way love can be, it is to realize that you are God. And this is what the Last Truth Teachings is about. It's about this profound, life-changing shift in your identity. So we start from the up and we go down. Actually, we don't even go down. We start from above. We start with this complete holistic realization of who we are, with shift in our identity. And then everything underneath starts rearranging itself in a correct way. All our illusions, limiting beliefs, negative thoughts, emotions, everything that we worked through for decades unsuccessfully or partially successfully, everything just falls into place. All these illusions just disappear. They just vanish in an instant. So everything that needs to be worked through is suddenly already worked through once you see yourself for who you truly are. The majority of people, they try to go from below up. They try to work through these little stumbling blocks they have within these negative emotion. Then the next day they work on the other negative emotion and this issue and that limiting belief and then this limiting belief, trying to put together these puzzle pieces within themselves, not realizing that you need to leave those pieces alone. They will magically come together in a perfect way once you change your identity. So you need to get to the top, and then everything beneath you will be put together automatically in a perfect way. You don't need to try to put these pieces together. You don't need to work through any of your so-called negative character traits, any of your so-called limiting beliefs. No, it will all be resolved automatically. Because there's no illusion that survives the last truth. Once you know the last truth, once you know who you are, once your identity is shifted, and your perception is changed, then you see everything through the eyes of love and unity and who you truly are. So you no longer see those illusions. You no longer have those character traits. You no longer have those distorted perceptions, those perceptions that created those negative limiting beliefs and different internal struggles and mental issues and so on and so on. It will be resolved on its own. All you need to care about is your merging with God that you are.